Today, I'm joined by Matthew Pittman, an associate professor of advertising at the University of Tennessee. We're going to talk about his new research on how the way an ad states its conclusion changes whether people will believe it when their attention is stretched thin. So, Matthew, welcome. Would love for you to talk a little bit about this research and why it was interesting to you.
Hey, thanks for having me. I use a lot of social media, probably too much. Using social media leads to some of my research questions because when I'm scrolling through, I'll see an ad and wonder, does this really work? This doesn't seem very effective, which I'm sure if you use a lot of social, you'll see this too. Sometimes an ad is very direct and says like, this product is the best. If you don't use this, you're stupid. And then other times it'll just list all these product features, like more information than I can process. And I'm always thinking, which one of those is better? Is it better to have an explicit conclusion that just says we're the best? Or should it be kind of implicit and more subtle and just say, here's the facts, you decide for yourself? And I'm wondering which one of those was better. As often happens, a moderating factor that I study all the time is cognitive load, or how much mental processing or bandwidth you're using. And so that was the big moderator, which I've studied this a lot. And it's super interesting to me, the idea that at the beginning of the day when things are calm, before we've had 10 Zoom meetings and 8 missed appointments, when we're thinking clearly, our brain is operating one way. But then at the end of a day or at the end of the week, or if things are crazy and hectic and we're getting 20 notifications on our phone and 20 things we're trying to balance in our brain, it processes information differently. And so in those conditions, when we're frazzled, stressed, maxed out, we just want just tell me what to think. Just tell me it's the best, because if I need a new bottle or a new toothpaste, boom, I can buy it right then and there.
Yeah, certainly something I can relate to as a social media user and advertiser myself. In this research, which, by the way, was recently published in Psychology and Marketing, you find that when people are mentally overloaded, they respond better to ads that jump straight to the conclusions. That's fairly intuitive, right? It's based on the experience we all have on a daily basis. Was there anything in the conclusion or in the research findings that surprised you?
For study one, as normally happens, we thought we had an idea that the hypotheses would be supported. We weren't sure which mechanism or indirect route or mediator we would use. So I think at first we tested like credibility, which ended up working. Maybe authenticity, product quality. That seems like an obvious one, right? Like if I have a phone case and this one says this is the best phone case, then surely the reason I want to buy it more is because I think it's high quality, or because the brand has integrity or something. But I couldn't believe that it was credibility, not product quality, not how much we liked the ad. It was just, do I think this brand knows what they're talking about? And that was the indirect effect. That's the way our brains went. Okay, I'm frazzled. I don't have time to process this all the way. So it's not even conscious. We're not aware of that we're offloading. We just go, okay, I can't process this. Oh, they tell me they're the best. They must know what they're talking about. They seem confident. And then we're more likely to purchase. So I love testing different mediators because it's never the one I think it's going to be. It's always something that surprises me.
Okay, fascinating. Could you talk a little bit about how you test those mediators? Like, what does the actual kind of respondent or study experience look like?
Yeah, so the mediators are just self-identified or self-reported scales. So first we test cognitive load, which this is an interesting too. You didn't ask about measuring cognitive load, but in a previous paper, a colleague and I established that using Instagram for 30 seconds has the same cognitive effect as memorizing a 9-digit number. So old psychology studies back in the 80s and 90s would say, memorize this 9-digit number. We're going to ask you again, so don't forget. So people, as they're looking at the ad, they have to be like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, using up their mental resources. We found that now we just tell them, scroll Instagram for 30 seconds, and it has the same effect, which is kind of crazy. Just going through the Rolodex and being like, okay, there's a celebrity, there's a fitness person, there's a food person, there's my cousin. All that scrolling and evaluating takes up a lot of mental resources, which is not surprising. We were just happy to be among the first to prove that. So that's how we manipulated cognitive load in one condition. The other condition, we're just like, here's the ad. In terms of the measurements, it's all self-reported scales. So in that first study, we would say, here's the ad. How much would you be willing to buy from this? Would you be willing to pay a little more for this product? And then for the mediators, authenticity is like, I think this brand is true to itself. Disagree, agree. Or credibility is this brand knows what they're talking about. Disagree, agree. Product quality is pretty straightforward. That's like, this brand seems like they make a high quality product, discreet, stuff like that. And this was in the context of green advertising. So I think that also didn't pan out. We had a measurement that was like, I think this brand truly cares about the environment, right? It wasn't that. It was just that credibility. Does this brand know what they're talking about? Do they have a history of being like an expert or in this area? And that was the measurement that led to the increased purchase intent.
It's fascinating to consider that kind of preloading your brain or like impacting it by scrolling for that short of an amount of time has the same effect as something that like I would consider to be hard. Maybe it wasn't as hard for people back in the day to memorize the digit number, but I feel like
before digital tech allowed us to like, I mean, how many phone numbers could you list right now if you had to write them down?
Yeah, just a couple. And there were ones that I used when I was a kid before you just had everything preloaded. It feels like scrolling social media is easy almost, like it's activates your reward system, but it sounds like it's loads you cognitively in a similar way to a task that requires a lot of concentration.
Yeah, easy but not free in terms of the mental cost of the scrolling.
Right. So these findings, I'm curious what you think people should do with them. So are there particular academics or researchers or industry folks who should be aware of these findings? And what would you like to see people do next with this? Yeah, with the results of this study?
So this is probably where I should mention that I do have a book coming out at the end of next year called Scroll Like You Mean It, that will be some prescriptive things we can do to help manage our social media use. And it's kind of an antidote to doom scrolling. Like, what can I do to take a little agency back and make my feed more of what I want and less of what is just shown to me randomly? But in the context of cognitive load in this, buying things, like I buy a lot of crap online that I don't need. We find half the time we get packages, my wife is like, what did you order now? What did you get? I'm like, oh, sorry, I was tired and I just bought some stupid novelty t-shirt or something. But a lot of it is just a simple like self-assessment before I purchase a thing. Like, I mean, not just saying, do I really need this, but like evaluating the ad, saying, what is this telling me? Am I buying this because I believe the ad, or am I buying this because I need this? Am I in a good like headspace to buy this? Kind of like they say, like buying airline tickets, like it's supposed to be cheapest on a Tuesday or something, like 6 months before, whatever. One direct application of this ad would be when you're going to make your purchases, if you're thinking about it in the afternoon or evening, just wait until the next morning to make that purchase, because you'll be a little more clear-headed and can think through like, do I really need this? Is it worth the cost?
It's a book for all of us that use social media on how to scroll more intentionally, get out of doom scrolling. That's very cool. When you think about, these kinds of the results from this study about how to connect with people who are kind of in that scrolling state, is that something that you think it sounds like that's something you think that actual consumers can use, like not just advertisers who are trying to reach them. Like it's something that we as consumers can kind of like apply in a sort of meta way to how we use social media.
Yeah, the advertiser or practitioner application would be give people the right amount and the right type of information they need at that point of purchase when they're in the decision process to like, yes, I'm going to buy something. And that varies. Like for a car, you'll have a longer purchase decision process than you do for like buying a pen or a phone case. From the consumer side, the application would be kind of what I said, like wait 24 hours, which a lot of this, I remember I heard back in the day from my dad. I was like, Dad, I want to buy a new surfboard. I'm going right now. He's like, Dad, hold on. Why don't you think about this for a day or a week? I'm like, oh, okay. So waiting just 12 hours to purchase a thing, asking, and I've done this before. I don't do it all the time because I struggle with this as much as anyone, but saying, what about this makes me want to buy this thing? Like I bought this hat from this random company called Sendero. It's like based in Waco, Texas. It's got a cowboy on the rings of Saturn going, and it's like cosmic cowboy. And it's like, pew, hey, partner. It's so dumb. And now I still wear it. But when I wear it now, I'm like, what about an ad with a cosmic cowboy made me be like, I need to spend $25 on this hat right now. So I think asking as much as it's possible to interrogate that process and the relationship between me, this digital message, and this product that I may or may not order, as much as possible to like investigate that process and say, what's going on here? To me, it's a reminder to always do that. Just take a beat, take a minute and be like, what's going on? Do I really need this? Am I in the right do I have all my mental power right now to make the best purchase decision.
All right, Matthew, thank you so much for using Verasight for this research, for this study. I'm curious, do you have any other thoughts on survey research providers these days?
I'm not going to name any specifics, but there's one panel provider that used to be amazing, and now it is so spammy and bot ridden. I avoid it at all costs, and I tell all my grad students to steer clear. It's just a hot garbage fire.
Thanks, Matthew. Appreciate you spending some time with us talking about your latest research and what you have coming down the pipeline.